Welcome to another episode of Dad's Worldwide. We will make you laugh. We might make you cry. Most certainly, somehow, some way, try to make you a better parent. I am your most humble host, Brendan. And oh my God, there's some guy sneaking out behind you. Oh, sorry, Aviator McGee is here.
That's what you give me?
Yeah, that's what I got. I don't. The guy took me. The guy that was running behind you. I'm lazy. He was clothed, I guess, but that guy took me for a loop.
Look, I'm sorry. You caught me in the middle of my gentleman caller for the evening.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but Lindsay, it's okay.
You immediately brought it up.
Well, he was
okay. I'll try to save this intro. It's what I do. Hopefully my voice cooperates. Here we go. It is I, the Blendmaster Ceremonies, quadruple distilled, non-chill filtered, and your 17-time Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast champion, Tony fucking G.
Yep.
That's what we do. I Phil KOE at WrestleMania. Me and John Cena, both 17-time champions. Your heroes in the
yeah. You you cut out a little bit there, bud.
Figured. Hopefully local recordings are better.
Hopefully. All right, and back once again. He's the bestest friend you just can't get rid of. Hey, Chris.
Thank you, crowd. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Robo T.
So he's doing his own sounds now.
Yeah, it's great.
I thought you were going to get stabbed.
On the cards, I mean, that's not out of question.
In reference to Brendan's concern about the other person in your hotel room, I thought we were about to witness a stabbing.
Well, it was a stabbing earlier, but it's just a different kind.
Hi-yo.
Yeah, don't rule it out.
So to speak. I'm in an actual stabbing with a knife.
Oh.
Well,
that's not as sexy.
As in murder.
That's not as fun.
Something got murdered.
But Tony, did you know that John Cena's birthday is this week?
Is it?
Yeah. He's
really?
Gonna be 48 years old.
That's wow. He's only got 10 years on me.
Yeah, so I just figured I'd circle back and drop that bomb since you're making a John Cena reference yourself.
Well, pretty much amazing that in 10 less years I was able to accomplish the same feat as he did.
Well, what's even more amazing is I've barely heard of John Cena and I've never been a wrestling fan, and yet I knew that nugget and you didn't.
I don't obsess over wrestlers' birthdays because that's creepy. I mean, you do you, man.
Likewise.
So, welcome, Chris. Welcome.
Thrilled to be here as always.
We have a fun-filled evening planned.
It's a long time coming. That's how I characterize it.
It was a long time coming. What do we want to start with?
Oh man, what a tough choice. I'm gonna leave that up to Tony.
Oh, you know what? I got a story first. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Oh, remember, okay. Brendan, you were supposed to ask me something.
Yeah, I don't care.
What? That's a hell of a way to treat a guest.
So, Chris, you said that you're going to have some guests. Well, you've been teasing me for like a week and a half. Like, what? Like, dangling a carrot in front of me.
Oh, so, this is unrelated or in addition to that.
What did you do with a carrot?
It was a stabbing. Well, so Chris has some upcoming guests. I think he'd like to announce exclusively on Dad's Worldwide.
That's correct. I've not made this announcement anywhere else. So I don't know if
Oh.
you guys know this, but an interview podcast is the toughest type of podcast to execute because of all the guest wrangling. It's really difficult to wrangle guests. So on one hand, I'm really trying to get the Real Estate Raconteur show launched, and it's not going well, if I'm being totally honest. I have recorded 2 episodes, but I'm having a lot of difficulty booking other guests, and so more to come on that. But um, I did reconnect with a friend of mine who I've known for a long time, 25 years. He is from my industry, and in 2019, he committed 4 bank robberies.
Nice.
And so while we all enjoyed the pandemic, he enjoyed a trial and a prison sentence. So I haven't seen him in 7 years, and then I bumped into him unexpectedly on Monday.
As he was robbing you.
No. He's
Oh.
no, he's reformed. He's no longer doing that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
But we were supposed to have lunch yesterday. That fell through, and we're trying to schedule lunch. And I am going to, as gently as possible, ask him if he'd be willing to come on the show and tell his story.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if he will. I mean, understandably, he might be very reluctant to do that.
Understandable.
Right, exactly. But I have already recorded the J6 interview, and that's coming out on May the 7th. So that's done. That's in the can.
Yes.
That's fully produced. The interview guest has given me permission to release it. And so that is happening, and that'll happen on May the 7th.
Oh,
But then
fantastic.
I was talking to another friend of mine from the comedy scene that I haven't talked to in a long time. And we're just having a whatever catch-up conversation. And then she's telling me about this new part of town that she moved into. It's one of those new communities, new housing communities, in a growth area, these neighborhoods that pop up, and it's got all the amenities. And it's these great new neighborhoods, these shiny new neighborhoods. She's telling me how much she likes it, and then she tells me that one of her new neighbors is in a throuple.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now
So how do you think I responded to that information?
I hope ecstatically.
But I mean, how do you think I responded?
Do they want a quadruple?
Yeah.
No. No.
A quapple.
Good guess.
Whatever that is.
Take one more guess.
Well, what's 5? I mean, you probably wanted to include your wife, so.
Well, yes, of course. If I was going to go that direction, then of course.
Yeah.
And that's called a quintuple.
Yeah.
If you want to know. No. Yeah. So my immediate response was, well, please immediately reach out to them because I want to interview them for my podcast.
Of course.
Yes. So I'm
of course.
I'm attempting to book a throuple.
I like this.
This is a real thing that happened to me yesterday.
No, I'm in agreement. Like this must be documented. I like it.
Well, speaking of documentation, Tony, I'm glad you said that because they have a podcast.
Oh.
And it's called The Fourth Wheel. It totally exists, and it's about living as a throuple. That's a podcast that's out there that you can listen to right now.
But why is there a fourth wheel?
I'm glad you asked that, Brendan, because it gets
guest would be the
better.
fourth wheel.
Because the person that joined the original couple to make it a throuple has a 10-year-old son.
Oh.
Got kind of creepy.
That's
Yeah, I don't know about this.
interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean that throws a wrench into the gear.
Yeah. Sure does.
Big old wrench.
Yep.
10-year-old.
So like as soon as you think this stuff is settled into your brain pan, then I hit you with the next aspect of it.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I don't have anything else. I think that's enough, but that's the whole thing.
Okay.
Is that all your announcements for Chris?
Yes, I'm trying to book both a 4-time bank robber who went to prison and a throuple that's raising a 10-year-old.
suggestion for you though.
Okay.
So you said it was hard to rank.
I'm sorry, Robo T, you broke up a little bit.
Have to go again.
I mean, oh me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I said you're finding it hard to wrangle guests.
Yes.
You should just ask him instead of trying to play rodeo with him. I mean, I think that'd be a lot easier. I'm
Just be more direct.
Yeah, be more direct. Like the physical. I mean, rope.
leave
That
leave
seems
the
like a lot of work.
leave the rodeo clown at home.
No,
Leave,
be the
advice.
clown.
leave your lasso at home. Just talk to them like a human being. Yeah.
What both of you are saying is I'm making it too difficult.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I'll try the direct approach.
Getting guests on is always difficult. The first 3 years of this show was actually mostly interviews.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was but after Jim left and me, just I don't know. I work a lot. I guess I should just spend more of my time at night actually emailing people and requesting them to come on the show. But yeah, it's just one of those things that it's a chore. So
No, the
Really?
real truth is you just never left.
what? Who never left?
Me.
Oh,
Yeah, you just never left.
yeah, I had him on and he never left. The only guest we
He's the perpetual guest.
perpetual. Yeah.
I'm like the clap.
Wow.
No, the clap
Clap
go.
of podcast guests.
Yeah.
Add that to your opening.
Yeah. Hopefully the AI picks that up in a clip and we throw that up.
Where would that go in your intro? After triple distilled and before? 5 times?
No, right in the middle of my name for sure.
Okay. All right.
Tony the Clap G.
Yes.
So the kids they lied, and we with the MP3 player we went over this, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Jamie and I couldn't figure out how to not necessarily punish them, but just teach them a lesson. So we decided that instead of they're already a month without TV because they can't sleep in their own beds. So we decided that, for them to make a presentation about how honesty is important and sleep is important. So, and then if they want to stay up later, a bedtime, then they need to do a presentation for that.
Okay.
So, Jackson,
I love that. I love that you make your kids do presentations to earn things.
well, it's not some. Well, I mean, part of it was earned things, but yeah, the other part is kind of like it's trying to teach them that, like, but yeah. So I get home one night. It's 8:00. Kids are getting ready to go to bed, and like, Dad, we're gonna do our presentations. I'm like, okay. I just worked like a 14-hour day. I'm tired. They do their presentations. Maxwell, the younger one, it was actually over a minute. Jackson, like 30 minutes, breeze right through it. Like, you could tell it was the bare minimum. Like they did bare minimum. And so, I was like, okay, like I'm just hungry. Like, I want to eat something. Like, all right.
Present me with a sandwich.
Yeah. Jamie looks at me and goes, what do you think? And I was just like, I don't know. I don't know. I was tired, hungry. Maxwell starts bawling. Like, I thought we did what you asked us to do. And I couldn't tell what he was saying because he was crying and talking. I'm like, what? Like, what are you? why are you crying? And he's like, I thought we did like, and finally the third time, Jamie's like, he's saying that he thought they did what you asked or what he asked. And I'm like, oh yeah, you did. I was like, I'm hungry. I'm tired, buddy. I just want to eat something. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with your presentation. Go to bed. So
we tried so hard to make you happy, Dad.
yeah. So the next day, I felt bad. So the next day, here I wrote an email to my kids.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah, I felt bad.
You are
Say that again, Tony. You roboted.
you're so old.
I am so old, but I know they wouldn't escape it because I know they check their computers. So so I felt bad. So I titled it presentations. I said, "Good morning, guys. I'm sorry for my reaction to your presentations. I was pretty tired and hungry, but I should have responded with something more constructive. Thank you for doing the presentations. Now that I've had time to consider them, I want to know how you think the presentations went. Did you learn anything, or was this just a chore? If you received these presentations, what would you think? The presentations were good, but not great. It was clear you guys did the minimum. I'm telling you this because I want the best for both of you. If you do the minimum, you'll get by. But I want both of you to be great. And I know you absolutely can be and will be. I want you to be who other people look up to. The minimum will not get you there. I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings. I want this to motivate you to be better and try harder even when things seem mundane and silly. I love you guys, Dad."
I think that's great.
Thank you. Jackson responded. It was heartfelt. He said, "Okay." That was it. Just okay. I was like, I asked you questions in the email. And then like a week later, Maxwell says, "Thanks." So I was like, and this is after. So I gave Jack a bunch of crap because they were up at my in-laws, so for 2 days, and then I went and joined them, and then I was like, hey, there were questions in those emails, and he just kind of smiled and ha ha ha, and Maxwell was there, and then like literally yesterday, Maxwell sent me a response to the email and just said thanks. I'm like, you sons of bitches.
So we're not still doing the bare minimum, obviously.
Yeah. We definitely haven't learned anything apparently. So
Yeah, it sounds like he got it. He got it perfectly.
yeah. So yeah, I thought that was hilarious because
I adore this. This is great.
Okay. I was just like, I asked you minimum 2 questions, at least 2 questions in there. Yep. So
Well, I think approaching the situation later when you're in a better frame of mind, that's a win. I think, reaching out to repair the situation when you realize that you had upset them, that's a win. And then I think the other thing about it is it's probably one of those things where, because how old are the boys? They're like 12 and 9?
12 and 10.
12 and 10. Yeah, so I also think it's one of those things where they're just kids, so they don't really know how to properly respond. And so I think it's one of those things that they probably did receive the way you wanted it, and it probably did impact them, and they just didn't know how to reciprocate. But I think they received it. It'd be my guess.
Conveying the message.
Words from a dad are
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I felt bad. The next day I was working, and I'm like, I was like, I definitely could have handled that better. Even though I was tired and hungry, like, I literally asked them to do these things, then, I should be able to respond better than I did. So, But yeah, no,
Just the fact that you recognize that and then we're willing to do something about it. I mean, how would our fathers have handled that? So
my-
Not with an email.
yeah,
I
oh,
don't think my dad knows what an email is
yeah, yeah.
to start.
No, yeah, my dad would have said nothing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think my dad would ever admit that. I don't think he would have ever admitted that he was wrong about anything.
Right. Yeah,
There's
exactly.
that, yep.
Same. No, my father's 81 years old and he's still insufferable. So yeah, we were just over there for Easter, and I couldn't leave their house soon enough. It was pure torture.
Did you interview him yet?
Oh, I did two long form interviews with my dad a few years ago.
Great. I'm jealous.
They're pretty solid, actually.
I know one thing. My dad would have loved podcasting.
Oh, really?
Oh, hell yeah. He's a talker. That guy. Oh,
My dad is too. Yeah, same.
yeah. He'll talk your ear off. My dad will talk to strangers, just random people. Well, so will I. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll just start talking to people. Yeah. I'm one of those people. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. It was a good conversation. My
Yeah,
dad likes to tell
You're
stories.
you're that guy that people come back from vacation and go, yeah, you remember that asshole started talking to us?
You remember that son of a bitch thought he knew me? Yep. That's me. Hey, sometimes you get some warm hellos, but other times, yeah, older. But hey, whatever. I'm a people person. I talk with the people.
Doesn't everybody like to talk politics with strangers?
Yeah.
I don't talk politics with strangers.
That's a good.
Unless they bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they realize, what have I done?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you why Paul was right. Yep. So, yeah, I think that was the biggest thing that happened. That was the one thing I wanted to bring up as for a story. But did we want to jump into sitcoms, meat? You guys are obsessed with me hating bologna for some reason, so we got to talk meat.
Okay.
Yeah, Tony and I, who in the past have been adversaries, have actually united in our love for bologna and our misunderstanding, the fact that we can't comprehend why you don't love bologna.
It's a mystery.
Because it's fucking gross. Like, I don't understand how you not get that. It's gross.
Well, because my tongue works and I are.
Well, what it indicates to me is that you never had a childhood.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I've never ate bologna or eaten bologna.
24 years old when you were born. You skipped over all the good stuff.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then you guys shouldn't be eating bologna either. That doesn't make sense.
Explain.
Makes perfect sense.
No, you're saying you're after 24 you don't eat bologna?
No, Tony's
I'm
saying
just saying.
you never experienced years 0 through 24.
Yeah.
Which is why you hate bologna.
Yeah, you were just
I'm not getting
born.
Yeah, you were just grown a man child.
Yeah.
Sure.
The amount of disgust on not properly be conveyed through audio alone.
It's true. Yeah.
It's gross. I just don't get it. Ask him if he likes bologna. I don't know.
Hey Jose, you like bologna? Yeah.
Kiera,
yeah.
Jose. He likes bologna?
Yes, everybody does.
Oh, is it Mexican bologna or like regular bologna?
Well, that's because Jose probably had a childhood, which
exactly.
Oh, Jose's parents don't love him. I think that's
better when you fry it.
100%.
There's so much better meat out there. I just don't understand why you would even settle for a giant hot dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Nothing can beat it.
Nobody in this
can't beat.
Nobody in this conversation is claiming that bologna is the best meat.
No, of course not.
It's just among the good meats.
Yeah.
That's a lie, though.
It's not a lie, and consensus agrees with us.
What consensus?
I sent you a list.
Is it the climate warming consensus? Like, what consensus are we talking about? 98.
Bologna all the way, baby.
It's closed.
Yeah.
Jose has spoken.
Does he? Jose, ask if he has it with queso fresca.
He would.
Yeah. So no, I just I don't know. I don't care what consensus you have. They're wrong.
Well, the folks over at whatever website I sent you.
You sent me a website. Where'd you send it?
Insider Monkey.
Yes.
The what?
Yes.
Where'd you
chat?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not on there.
Well, no wonder.
Hold on. Let me bring it up. Jeez.
Yeah, the good folks at insidermonkey.com with the 15 most popular deli.
I'm sure this is legit.
With a name like Insider Monkey, how do you not read that and go, oh, obviously, experts?
Yeah, I challenge you to find a more reliable source than this.
Yeah. Sorry, it's not the New York Times, Brendan.
Hold on.
New York Times.
That's upset.
Do you think the New York Times has ever done an article of any kind about bologna?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. They probably said it's great.
No, they probably said, here's why only red states like bologna and how it makes you racist.
Yeah, that's true.
Now let's next war. Okay, here we go. I will present. Oh, Tony's gone again. Share screen.
He'll be back.
He will be. Oh God.
Oh God, it's Inception screen.
It's good. Here we go.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 paragraphs. What is this shit? No ads.
Close.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 paragraphs that we can just skip over and just go right into what meats they list. Because I don't actually need to read anything written by Insider Monkey.
I get all of my news from Insider Monkey.
Obviously.
To identify the 15 most popular deli meats in the U.S., we employed a rigorous and consensus-based methodology. You're already
consensus.
You're already full of shit. Our approach involved gathering data from reputable sources such as Statista, List, Challenges, Price of Meat, and Reddit. Reddit.
I'd buy you to find a more reputable source than Reddit.
You couldn't say that with a straight face.
No, I couldn't.
Each deli meat's appearance on these sources was given a point to determine its overall popularity. We further refined our list for tie-breaking by analyzing the best-selling deli meats at Walmart. Yeah, because those trolls are the best people to talk to about good meat. An eminent retailer.
Buy deli meat at Walmart.
Like I said, trolls. This. All right. This step ensured that our rankings accurately reflected the references of a large consumer base. Finally, based on the cumulative points and refined data, we meticulously arranged the deli meats in ascending order, presenting the definitive list of the 15 top deli meats in the U.S. Number 15, pepperoni.
It's a solid pick.
Good meat.
It's a good meat.
Good mix of meats, really, right? All right. Number 14. I honestly have no idea what this is.
Yeah, I don't either.
Mortadella.
What the fuck is mortadella?
The well-known brands in the mortadella projection. Okay, yeah, it doesn't say what it is. So
What?
what?
It doesn't even explain the meat. Like, this is weird.
Yeah, number 13 is
I like that
liverwurst.
you're surprised by the deficiencies of Insider Monkey.
Yeah.
Braunschweiger. Yes, I love some Braunschweiger.
Yeah, but then you go to Braunschweiger and it actually tells you what it is.
Yeah. They still can't explain the 14th. Okay.
Yeah, no one knows what mortadella is. It's a mystery.
Mystery meat.
That's what it is. When people say mystery meat, they actually mean
Yeah.
mortadella. Tony
Yeah.
figured it
Oh.
out. Good job, Tony.
Boom.
Well, if you're wondering, liverwurst is sausage made from pork liver, pork meat, seasonings like onions, nutmeg, and cloves. It has a spreadable consistency. Really? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
it does.
Interesting. I'd try it.
Fuck yeah, Braunschweiger on some club crackers, baby.
Prosciutto. Oh, I love prosciutto.
Good meat.
Prosciutto's good.
Good meat. Cured
I
ham.
don't see what they explain their scoring method. They've got these on a 1 to 4 scale, and I can't find this.
It's a monkey score of 3.
Yeah, I think you're expecting too much from Insider Monkey.
Yeah.
Olive loaf.
Okay,
well,
I disagree with that.
Boo.
Testing.
Yeah, the fact that this disqualifies Insider Monkey right now.
Yeah,
But that's only
boo.
because I
Boo
hate
olive
olives.
loaf. Yes.
I also hate olives.
Olives.
Sopressata. Sopressata.
Sopressata. Sata.
Salami. I like salami.
Sounds delicious.
Number 9, Capicola or Gabagool.
Yeah,
No,
it's good.
Gabagool.
Yeah.
It's Italian.
It is.
Gabagool.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. Pastrami.
Good
Yes.
meat.
Dude, I love myself a good pastrami Reuben. Oh yeah.
I mean, it'd be great without the sauerkraut.
Oh, sauerkraut's fantastic. I love it.
Okay, now you've gone too far.
Number 6.
Hey,
No,
Tony,
go back up. You son of a bitch. Go back up right now. Don't you dare.
It's
Tony-
salami. Number 6 is salami.
No, you skipped right over 7, and we're not going to
what
let
was
you
number
do that.
7?
Oh, bologna.
What was the Insider Monkey score, Brendan?
That's a 4.
A
Yeah.
4.
Say
Yeah.
it, Brendan.
Yeah, they have olive loaf on here.
Yeah, way below bologna.
Not way below. It's a 3.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah, and bologna has a 4.
It also has a first name.
Yeah, it's OSCAR.
So, Brendan, I think just to do this conversation justice, you should read the paragraph under baloney.
Yes.
Bologna is been a staple in American households for decades.
No. read it correctly.
It is one of the most popular deli meats in America, although bologna has been a staple in American households for decades. 2020, the U.S. witnessed a substantial surge in sales of bologna and several other prepared meats. Why?
Wonder why?
Yeah, probably because you could leave it in a closet for like 20 years and still eat it because it's fucking. It's like a Twinkie.
Fucking pandemic year surge.
Yeah. Its widespread popularity can be attributed to its affordability, convenience, and versatility. Oh, great. So people are poor and they're buying bologna. Great. Bologna is commonly used in sandwiches, packed in school lunches, and served as a quick snack. It appeals to consumers of all ages due to its mild flavor and ease of preparation. It's gross, you fucking weirdos.
Okay, I don't like how you focused on affordability, but you skipped right pretty fast past convenience and versatility.
Yeah.
It's convenient and versatile, Brendan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it got a monkey score of 4.
How do you not love it now?
So how do they score? How does Insider Monkey score this? How does
1
that
through
happen?
4.
4
4 is the
months.
highest.
And
Yeah.
bologna is a
Yeah, but like how do they determine that? I think
They explained that above. You just breezed right past that through your hatred of bologna.
Hey, Brendan, do you like salami?
Yeah, it's not bad.
What about pastrami?
Yeah.
Okay, because both those got the same score as bologna.
Yeah.
Okay, but bologna tastes like ass.
See, that's where you're wrong, though. They're all fours.
Yeah, they're all fours.
Oh, my bad.
Finally, he's starting to come around.
He has a first name. It's Oscar. Come on, Brendan. My bologna has.
Mute.
Mayer.
Yeah, I just muted him.
Dang
Aww.
it. I'm gonna
The controls.
send
So-
you a recording of me singing the entire song, and I want you to start using that as the new theme song for
Yes.
the podcast.
So to round that, do some quick hits here. Then they had an entirely separate page for the 5 most. It's chicken. Number 4 is corned beef. Number 3 is roast beef. Number 2, honey ham. And the number 1 spot, turkey. Coming.
Turkey.
I'm a little offended that bacon did not make the list, but probably could have
bacon
replaced all of
considered a
loaf.
deli meat?
I get it on my Subway sandwiches.
I don't.
I think bacon's like a topping on a sandwich. It's not really a deli meat.
It
Well-
also speaks to the volumes of versatility that bacon has. It can be a meal, it can be a topping, it can be a deli meat. I think it's decent.
I mean, a BLT, right? That's a sandwich.
Bacon makes everything better.
Yeah.
That's true.
Some would
I
say
w-
it's the most important deli meat.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go with that.
I'm not a sandwich from Subway without putting bacon on it.
I love bacon.
So,
Maybe-
Maybe
probably
maybe
just
we
say
can end on
bacon.
that. And we can all end on our united love for bacon.
well,
I
I
think
gotta
that's a good idea.
tell the story. My brother-in-law, who was a pescatarian for, I don't know, most of his adult life. I don't. Oh, I don't know. I don't know how long actually, but for maybe even when he was in high school. But either way, it's fun. He recently started eating meat, and at one point he came up to me and goes, "Bacon is awesome," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Was he really bitter that he'd spent his entire life not eating meat?
I don't know, Ben. You're gonna have to reach out and let me know. He listens to the show every now and then.
Yeah, because I would have a hard time. I'd have a hard time reconciling with that decision after decades of not eating meat.
So was it for a woman?
No. Basically, out of I think. Oh, for when he was actual pescatarian.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I think it was mostly. I don't know. I think he just he started to. God, I'll let Ben. Ben will come on the show. He'll talk about it.
Okay.
But I don't want to guess and be wrong. So, but it was not for. I don't think it was for a girl, and but yeah, like you missed it, Tony. He just recently started eating meat, and he's like, bacon is so great, and I'm like, yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
See, there's more proof that bacon is meat. It brought people back around who were not eating meat. That's how good it is.
that's how great it is. Yeah, heck yeah.
You know what's really good? Bacon on a bologna sandwich.
What is bologna, by the way?
It's
Yeah.
the same thing made out of hot dogs.
Yeah, which I don't eat hot dogs. That's what it's like. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is not.
Look, whatever orifice you put your hot dog in, that's not our place to judge, Brendan.
What? Huh?
Brendan grabs Franks and goes, "I'm going to pretend you're the New York Yankees."
What? Yeah, I don't, like I said before, if I'm at a barbecue, that's what's to eat, I'll eat it. But I'm not really. I don't like hot dogs, not at all.
I love hot dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, hot dogs are good.
Well, you guys
Like-
both bologna. I'm not shocked. So
It's because we're American.
well,
Tony, did you realize you were recording a podcast all these years with a commie?
No, but now I know. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm gonna have to get past it. I'm accepting.
well, you have taste buds of a fucking 3-year-old. So good job.
That's the point I was making earlier. Is you were cheated out of your
There
childhood
you go. Exactly. Exactly.
in
He
your
just
own words.
contradicted himself again.
No, I didn't contradict myself at all. Like you're the one that's guy. You got the guys are the ones saying all this shit.
Just because your taste buds are like essentially like basically Brendan's have to be what you would imagine somebody on like a TV commercial would have, right? Like brand X cereal or Johnson brand or like, the box and Brendan's going, off milk toast, motherfucker.
Well, the fact of the matter is, yeah, I grew up. I guess you guys are still the Lost Boys hanging around Neverland. I don't know.
I'm totally cool with that.
That's fine. Like,
Forever young.
you guys
Forever young,
enjoy
baby.
bologna. It's all you guys. I don't know why you guys are so hung up on me just liking it.
I don't know why you've
Because
got to
you're-
be so afraid of bold flavors.
Flavors.
it's because you're our friend, Brendan, and we want you to. We want to share our enjoyment with you.
Best for you.
Well, thank you, but we can share other things and not your gross ass tube meat.
Brendan, what's your favorite tube meat besides your own?
Ooh, I'm a fan of kielbasa or some bratwurst.
Okay.
Yep. This is an awkward silence.
I mean, I'm half German, so I mean, I'll do brats and sauerkraut anytime you want.
Oh yeah, love it. My brother and I used to buy this Russian mustard. Oh my god,
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
it was like you could put like a dime size and just spread it on, and you would be crying by the end of it because it was like wasabi.
Sounds like horseradish.
Yeah, it pretty much was. Yeah, it was amazing.
If you want, I'll do the rest of the episode with my Wisconsin accent.
Yes. Please.
No.
I thought that was Minnesota.
Well, I mean, it's just
North-
the Midwest.
Yeah, I was gonna say North Dakota. Was it Fargo? Was it the movie Fargo?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my whole extended family talks with that accent.
Oh,
They all
my
live
God,
there still.
that's great.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
I had someone recommend a podcast to me recently, and I turned it on, and the host was a woman with a very soothing voice and a Canadian accent, and I was like, yes, like, this is gonna be great. I find it so endearing. Like they're incapable of saying anything mean, and even if they do, you don't receive it that way.
Just
Well,
a bunch
go
of
fuck
sweethearts.
yourself. Like, you know what? I will. I
Like-
absolutely will.
It's like in the South when they say "bless your heart."
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah, except they say something really mean before that.
Well, you can really go ram it up your ass if you know. Like, yeah, I agree with you.
Right, I could. Thank you.
Not only can I, but I will. I'm going to ram it up my ass. I mean, I can't not do it now that you
Clip
said
that
that.
one.
Yeah, just anytime someone says something incredibly rude to you, just say, "Hey, could you please repeat that in a soothing Midwestern accent?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Please,
you'll hear it totally different.
It's
or
true.
just say what you're saying, and then say "Hey" after it. Hey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You'll hear it completely differently.
It'll be so different.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they're incapable of offending each other. Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
It is. It is. It's so funny, Tony. You leave, you come back, and you're like crystal clear, and then like 10 minutes later, like
I know.
you go robot.
I know. That's
Well, why don't we jump into sitcoms? How did we want to broach this subject?
Well,
yeah, Chris. Why don't you spread these sexy legs about sitcoms?
well, in our previous discussions, you guys did a main one about comedians, which you did by accident,
True.
and I was really frustrated because that was a comment. What was the other topic you did? I think you did NFL football or something. Is that like a playoff preview or something?
Yeah.
I was like, good Lord Almighty, how do you combine my two favorite subjects and not invite me on the show? But then you said, well, we did it on accident. And I was like, well, that's a bold-faced lie, but it's nice of you to try to make me feel better. And then you were nice enough to have me on the show where we talked about stand-up comics again. And I don't remember what the transition was, but we did kind of, we got a little bit into sitcoms, I think, maybe in that episode.
A lot of the comedians that were on the list that Brendan brought up were not necessarily stand-up comedians, but more comedic actors.
Yeah, that's what it was. Thank you. I knew there was a tie-in here. Somehow we
Yeah,
bridged these two topics.
yeah.
Okay,
I
so
think they started talking about like Lucille and their classic comedic actor like Dick Van Dyke, and it was more along the lines of early sitcoms than it was stand-up comedy. Now, while I'm sure they did do form of that, but that really wasn't what they were known for.
so I think we can do this any number of ways, but I mean, obviously, one very common way is to look at a ranking.
Yep, I got one here. Here we go. And I just muted myself. All right, here we go.
Finally.
And it's the Tony and Chris show. Welcome, everybody.
It's about time.
I was about to leave. You guys wouldn't stop. Leave me alone for fucking baloney. There we go.
I could share my list, but I'm looking over it now, and I can already tell you it's completely bogus.
Yeah, this is a completely vetted list that I did not just look up right now. So
Perfect.
Yeah,
that way we ads and the paywall in real time.
this is all full of shit. You can tell right now because number one is Friends, and they start with number one. Why would you do that?
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah,
you can't start with one.
Two, and yeah, I don't like this list either.
Okay, so
obviously Seinfeld. Yeah, another one that's it's just a shitty show. Like, why would you even put that on the list?
Okay. But like, those are two of the most recognized played sitcoms of all time. That's why they're on the list.
Wait,
there's obvious reasons.
Would The Simpsons be considered sitcom?
Yeah.
So
it's a cartoon.
It's hard. It is, but it's hard not to consider like Family Guy or The Simpsons as a sitcom because it's the same concept. It's just animated.
Yeah, you just have to decide in this conversation if you're going to talk about animated shows separately. But I mean, if you're going to, then like is South Park a sitcom? If you're talking about animated sitcoms, does South Park count?
It toes the line. I don't consider it though.
Right. I mean, I think as it relates to animated shows, shows like The Simpsons and Family Guy and Bob's Burgers, I think when they take on the characteristics of a sitcom, they're just animated. I think there's not that many of those. I mean, I think I probably just named almost all of them. I mean, can you think of another one that takes on like American Dad? Yeah. So I don't know if that list is even 10 or 12 long. And so
It's
it's
not
much
a lot.
easier. Yeah, it's much easier just to roll those into the greater conversation. But I mean, I don't know.
Subgenre.
Everyone's either going to say The Simpsons or Family Guy, right?
Yeah,
If
like I
you
don't consider like South Park, Archer, or Rick and Morty as a sitcom
right,
comedy.
right, right. But if you were going to say, what do you think the greatest animated sitcom of all time is? What would you say?
It's probably going to be The Simpsons, Family, King of the Hill. I
What
mean,
would you say? What would your pick be?
sheer longevity, it'd probably have to be The Simpsons, even though half of those seasons are I haven't watched them.
Yeah, I was
Right.
gonna say longevity doesn't mean shit if no one's watching it.
Still going. I mean, it's still going somehow. 30 years. It's
Yeah,
nuts.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I
I
mean,
don't know anyone's still watching that shit.
The Simpsons is the OG, right?
Yeah.
And when it was good, it was incredibly good. So
Yes.
I think anything that came after that, it doesn't diminish those. Those other shows are good also, but I'm not sure if you could make any of them number one over The Simpsons. I mean, I feel like that's a short
It's
conversation.
stoppable, part of pop culture.
That's right.
That's why
That's
it
right.
does deserve mention.
So I think for that reason, I think we could just carve those out. We don't need to talk about those in this conversation.
Yeah.
So Tony, you're in your late 30s. So you were in your prime sitcom watching years in the mid 90s.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you want to even go specific, Simpsons, like Monorail was one of the classics, right? Like I remember watching that one live. So I would have been Christ, yeah, I'm almost 40 now, so yeah. Yeah, late mid to late 90s. We're talking kind of that era.
Late 90s. Okay. So
Mid to
would you
late, yeah.
so what would you say were your well, I don't know, because I guess as adults you really enjoy sitcoms too. You just enjoy different ones in a different category.
Right.
So,
So
so just as a point of reference or as a conversation setter, give me a couple of your favorite sitcoms as you were growing up, and then a couple of your sitcoms in adulthood.
so like when I was younger, I'd say the ones that probably stuck out the most would have been like I mean, Seinfeld was on during that era. Friends was on during that era. We mentioned those already. I know people probably don't think sitcom when they think of that, but that was huge and
I think you cut out. What
all-time
did you say?
classic. MASH.
Oh, MASH. You watched
And
MASH
oh, absolutely. And
Yeah,
love
like
it.
in reruns on like Nick at Night or something? Where did
Yes.
you watch it on?
Whenever it was on. I mean, anytime it was on, it was we would watch that.
As a
Um
family? Wait, I'm real curious about this because you're way too young to watch
oh,
MASH.
I would watch it. I enjoyed it.
As a child?
When I was younger, yeah, absolutely.
Wow, because I watched MASH when it was originally on.
Hmm.
When was that? When did MASH run? Because MASH
It ran longer than the war.
80s.
well, MASH was the yeah, the TV series. That was the movie. Aftermath. I remember Aftermath. That was terrible.
All the spin-offs were terrible.
Yeah, 1972 to 1983. So
Yep.
so I watched the tail end of MASH as a child when it originally aired.
Yeah, I believe it was on syndicated Fox networks a lot,
Okay.
like constantly. And yeah, we would always watch it. I mean, my mom had seen every episode, remembered every episode, and I'd watch them back, and I thought they were great. But like
What
when they were actually running, other ones would probably a big one was like Home Improvement, Frasier, Cheers. You get into the more family, like God, what block of programming was it? Like you had
Yeah,
Family Matters, yeah,
close.
Step by Step, Boy Meets World, Saved by the Bell. I mean, there were a lot during that era, a lot,
What
because they
what
were
about
trying to capitalize on like that Brady Bunch
sure. So
theme
what about when you got into
concept.
like your like college years?
Oh,
Were you
I
watching any
watched.
half-hour comedies at that time?
I mean, bottom of beer cans, but I digress. To watch, actually, that '70s show was kind of my go.
That was a good show.
And then what
Love it
about
still.
now? What about it? What about into adulthood? What kind of half-hour comedies are you watching now, or just in the last 5 to 10 years?
It's an older one, but my wife and I constantly will watch rerun King of Queen, that show.
Yep.
Okay, so shifting over to you, Brendan. Same question. What were you watching as a child? What were you watching in kind of adolescent, college age years, and what are you watching more recently in recent years?
Ooh, so I started with like Growing Pains, Family Ties. Uh that was Michael J. Fox, people.
Because
Mm.
Brendan, you're in your mid 40s, right? Aren't you 45-ish?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so you're 7 or 8 years older, 6, 7 years older than Tony,
Yep.
and now you're getting closer to my age. Okay.
So Growing Pains, Family Ties, and then that kind of morphed into what was the one with oh Jesus. It was a show with a woman who took in a bunch of kids, but I think they were all girls. What was that called?
Facts of Life.
Acts of Life.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Love that show.
Yep.
Hmm.
Um Mr.
Network
Bel-
had a bunch of reruns of those older.
yeah.
Also watch those too.
Mr. Belvedere.
Mm.
I don't know if you remember that one. What's his
Mm.
announcer was on that? What was Bob, was it Euchre?
Oh yeah. Yep, that's right.
Bob Euchre was on that.
Who died this year, actually.
He did.
Yes, that's right.
He's like one of those people that kind of like, man, I wish I met that guy.
Oh,
Like,
for sure.
yeah, just like I wish I like just like 5-10 minutes with that guy. I bet he was super nice.
Yeah.
Uh, Roseanne.
I was gonna mention that too.
Yeah, Roseanne, and then there was one before or after Roseanne that we used to watch all the time. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, but then we were also like Cosby and the one right after Cosby, which was
Oh, Step by Step or
something World.
oh
Oh, it was a spinoff, A Different World.
Yeah, Different World. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Uh, and then I would say that we yeah, like a Family Matters, Step by Step. That was kind of, but then also uh my brother and I, big fans of comedy, that type of thing. Like, so we would actually start watching like sketch comedy, Saturday Night Live, and like
Mm.
also shit, the Wayans who
Oh, the Wayne's Bros.
Living
Yeah.
Color.
in Living Color. Thank you. So in Living Color, I thought was magical. I just like that was just awesome. I love
And then
that.
J-Lo was a fly girl.
Oh my god, Fire Marshal Bill, and two snaps and a rewind. David Allen Greer, man, he was a funny guy. Um, so and then I guess my adult life, I think the one that sticks out the most is The Office. That's just I love that show. Uh, probably not as much as my original co-host Jim, but I do love that show. Great show, great show. So, and what do I watch now? Is just I don't know whatever's on Netflix or Prime. So
Yeah.
nothing that sticks out, comedy wise, at the moment.
Well, I just thinking like ones that I rewatch a lot now. I didn't even mention like Two and a Half Men are two that I've probably watched multiple times. after the fact of them airing, not when they were airing, but when the entire seasons are available. Those are ones I go back and watch over and over.
Yeah.
Well,
So Chris, fill us in on yours.
okay, so I grew up mostly in the 80s. So a lot of the ones you've mentioned. So I caught like the tail end of 70 sitcoms. So
Yeah.
I watched, early on I'd watch stuff like One Day at a Time and The Jeffersons
Yeah.
Don't
and
lie, you were watching the Honeymooners.
Oh, Silver Spoon, and Different Strokes. My favorite.
well, definitely. I mean, yeah, both of those.
Yep.
All in the Family, Good Times. Brady Bunch.
Bewitched, I Dream of Jamie.
Yeah, all of those. So
It's,
so that's what I watched when I was real young, when I first started getting into kind of television consciousness. I did watch MASH, but I don't think I thought it was funny, but obviously I didn't understand it.
yeah.
As a 7-year-old, I didn't really get MASH.
Yeah.
And then these aren't sitcoms, but I mean, I remember watching Johnny Carson.
Mm.
Johnny Carson ran from he finished up in 1992. So I came up watching Johnny Carson because David Letterman was on at like midnight, and I barely knew that he even existed. But then as I got a little bit older, you guys named a bunch of them, and I think when I first realized how big sitcoms were on TV was when Must See TV on NBC was created on Thursday night.
Mhm.
And you guys mentioned the lineup, but not all of them. The original lineup was, and I can never remember if Family Ties or the Cosby Show was first, but it was something like, I think it was the Cosby Show. I think it was the
I feel
Cosby
like the
Show.
Cosby Show was because it was the jumping off point
Yeah, so I think
because it was so
that,
big.
well, when Bill Cosby did the Cosby Show, he was already one of the biggest names in all of entertainment. I mean, you
Yeah,
think
he was a
about where,
phenom already.
yeah, I mean, think about where Bill Cosby was in his career when they did the Cosby Show in the mid '80s.
He
I
was
mean, here,
he was everywhere. That's where he was.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
exactly.
he was on commercials. He had he had Bill Cosby himself, one of the biggest stand-up shows ever to air on television. He did that. He did Fat Albert. He did some other Cosby show. He did. There was a like a comedy where he played like a detective or something, and I can always never remember the name of it. But whatever. Like, he was one of the biggest names in entertainment, and then he does the Cosby Show, and it kicks off NBC's Must See TV. So it's the Cosby Show, followed by Family Ties, which, as you pointed out, Tony, had Michael J. Fox, who I guess that might have aired right before he did Back to the Future, and he became one of the biggest names in entertainment.
Yeah, it would have
is
been right around the same time because he almost didn't take the role because of Family Ties.
Okay, yeah. So I think they did Family Ties started a year or two before the Back to the Future franchise, and then he was everywhere. He was Teen Wolf and all the other stuff that he did. And so it was Cosby Show, Family Ties, Cheers, and Night Court. And
Oh, I forgot about Night Court. Yep.
and all four of those shows were unbelievable. Like, they were really,
Yeah.
really great. And
Yep.
obviously, if you watch them now, I mean, they don't really hold up.
No, not exactly, but I mean the humor's still there.
But at the time, there was nothing better. That was the pinnacle of
Right.
comedy television, right? It's as good as it gets. Like, Must See TV worked, and it worked for a long time, because fast forward a decade, and then they kept swapping shows in and out, obviously, and you had Friends and all the shows. I can't remember all the shows that aired around Friends, but
Yeah.
that went on for quite a while. Must See TV was a smashing success for a very long time, and NBC was the king of comedy, and 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 so. If do you guys know the name?
Martin Lawrence, like that show was crazy good.
Oh, Martin, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah,
But that
yeah.
was on Fox. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Fox is its own story, right? I mean, that has its own part in this whole conversation. But do Yeah. So I mean, Fox came around in the late '80s, like 88 or '89, and Tony, you probably remember this too. Is that Fox was basically launched off of The Simpsons, which was cartoon shorts by Matt Groening on the Tracy Ullman Show, and All in the not All in the Family, Married with Children, like that made Fox, those two shows.
Yeah.
And then believe it or not, Cops. So that's the kind of shows that launched the Fox network, was Cops and The Simpsons and Married with Children. That was the brand.
We did watch.
Yeah.
Yep.
And those were monster shows, and they had huge audiences, and they were very, very funny, and they had a lot of talent on them. And not Cops. Cops was actually the launch of reality TV. That was the original TV show, right? So Fox
real TV.
basically, I mean, kind of unintentionally invented reality television, and what gave that life was the first writer's strike. I don't remember what year, but then that really blew up reality television because they had come up with programming to replace all the scripted shows. But do you guys know the name Jimmy Burrows?
Nope.
Know the name, but I don't know why.
So I don't want to bog down the show by doing the research, but Jimmy Burrows is the biggest name in sitcom television of all time. There's not a bigger name. He's attached to the biggest shows that we will mention in this conversation: Taxi, Cheers, Mary Tyler Moore, Friends, like dozens and dozens of shows. He was a writer, director, producer, and he created some of the biggest shows ever to show up on comedy television. And he created the television show Cheers. That's one of the things that he's the best known for. And he was basically the master of the 4-camera classic sitcom. And so what that means is that it literally means they use 4 cameras, and it's where the term the fourth wall came from, because all of these shows were created on a television studio stage with the set, and you had the 3 walls. And when we were growing up, you weren't conscious of that. You weren't aware that there was a fourth wall. You just thought that was the world, and it never occurred to you that, hey, we've never seen this fourth side of this environment. But we knew that people were cheering at the jokes, that were laughing at the jokes, which today sound really lame because it's set up punchline. You can see it from a mile away. But that seemed normal to us because that had been comedy television by that point already for 20 to 30 years.
I the laugh track. Most shows nowadays don't have a laugh track.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with this. And so what started in the 1950s with shows like Honeymooners that were filmed on a set, and that Jimmy Burrows perfected in the 70s and 80s, that had this fourth wall because if you would have spun those cameras around, you would have seen bleachers with a whole crowd there, and that were watching the show being taped, and then they would fill it in with a laugh track, right? Then if they weren't getting the reaction that they wanted, they would fill it with a laugh track. And that's how you watched comedy television. And that persisted until all the way through the 60s, 70s, 80s, most of the 90s, and so then in the 90s, obviously, Seinfeld started in 1990 and went all the way through 98 or 99. And then this style of sitcom lasted until, I think, 1998. And do you know the show that basically kicked off the turning point of the end of the laugh track, which by the way, that style of comedy, the 4-camera classic comedy with the laugh track and the studio audience, still exists today, right? Those shows are still being made.
However, it's all being made on Disney Channel.
Right. But I mean, the major networks are still producing shows exactly like they've always been making them, right?
Yeah, like How I Met Your Mother sells a laugh track. What's the other
shows that are being made right now still have them on the network?
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So it's not like it's dead, but for people like us in this conversation, we moved away from that. We evolved away from that, and we either don't watch it at all, or we can hardly stand. It just sounds wrong. It just sounds ridiculous. But do you guys know the show that kicked off the turning point for that? Away from the laugh track. What's that?
MASH.
No, MASH had a laugh track.
Yeah, it didn't. Son of a bitch. Yeah.
No, it
But
was
it
a show.
was non-studio audience. So
That's what I was saying, though, Tony. Is that this went from the 50s all the way through the 90s,
through,
and the
yeah.
turning point was in around, I think, 1998. Do you know what show it was?
So pre Y2K.
8.
Yeah,
Oh man,
you know the show because it only lasted for 3 seasons. It's on every list of the greatest sitcoms of all time, and it kicked off 2 trends
Oh man.
that are very common today.
Um,
And it's duplicated by one of your favorite shows, Brendan, that you mentioned earlier.
And possibly guess. I guess.
say The Office UK, but I don't know.
Arrested Development.
Oh God, I love that show.
That was the show that did 2 things. It did single comedy. It did single camera. It did documentary style.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
it got rid of the laugh track and the fourth wall.
Yep.
That's the show, at least in
That makes
America.
sense.
In America, that hit the scene and got rid of all those things and kicked off a new trend. That was the show because shortly after that came The Office and Parks and Rec, and I'm trying to think of the others.
Where there would have been a laugh track was just the actor staring into the camera with a blank expression.
Yes, that's right. So that's
Yeah.
the show that turned the corner and kicked off this new era of half-hour
That
comedies.
makes sense. Yeah.
And so and now those are my favorite shows. I mean, Arrested Development, Parks and Rec, The Office, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Scrubs actually did have, I think, had a laugh track. That's one of my favorite shows. Those are the best shows these days.
Dude, I love Psych. Like that was one of my favorite shows. Not a lot, but more of a. That was definitely a well-produced show.
That was a great show.
Yes. Yeah.
And the 2 main characters had amazing chemistry and were both very, very funny. What was it? I don't remember it was Dule Hill, wasn't it? And
Hill and what's his name? Shit.
I don't understand why that guy didn't go on to do a ton of other stuff because he was really good.
I don't know.
He just dropped off of a cliff.
Yeah.
That was an era where a really good stretch of just solid comedies.
Yeah. Yeah. What the guy from Monk?
Yeah, Tony Shalhoub.
Shalhoub, he's great. He does a lot of other stuff. Like, don't get me wrong.
Speaking of Tony Shalhoub, one of my personal favorite sitcoms of all time, Wings.
Terrific show.
Great show. Yeah.
Terrific show.
Wings.
I agree.
Yep.
And the thing I love about Wings, if you've ever seen the Family Guy clip where the 4 of the guys are drinking, they're like in a pool, and one of them brings up Wings. What we need is another Timothy Daly. Who the hell is that? Come on, from Wings. What the hell is Wings? But that's the conversation that you have anytime you make a reference to, like, because nobody knows the show except for like a handful of people. It's like, oh, it's a fucking great show. How do you not know it?
But Tony, you're absolutely right. And Wings is not on any list for the greatest sitcoms. It never shows up. No one talks. You're right. No one talks about it. It's like it never happened. But it had Tim Daly, and who was the younger brother, the screw up?
Oh, I can't think of his name.
He went on to so many different things.
Yes, and then what was the other guy's name with the blonde hair that he did a bunch of stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about. He was fucking the Sandman in Spider-Man.
He's in a bunch of different stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
He's in. Yeah.
I remember his name, but yeah.
It was Lowell.
Yeah, it was Lowell. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of his name now, but yeah, he was on Will and Grace. He was in Spider-Man. He was in that fucking wine movie with what's his name?
Right, I tried to think of it too. So I have the cast of Wings. So you got Tim Daly, Steven Weber was the one
Steven Weber, yes.
But Steven Weber. So quick story about him. So Stephen King, of course, the novelist.
Yes.
Who wrote what's his most famous book?
Oh, Cemetery.
No, the one with Jack Nicklaus in it.
You're talking about the Shining.
Yes, The Shining. Thank you, The Shining.
Yeah, he did he was in the remake.
Yeah, well, hang on a second. It wasn't a
TV
remake. I mean, it was, but the story. Did you know the story behind that?
I've heard it. You'd have to refresh my memory, but yeah.
So the story is that Stephen King was not happy with was not that involved in and not that happy with the Jack Nicholson version. He didn't like it. And so the reason that they remade it, so to speak, was because Stephen King wanted to redo it and do it to his liking. And I don't know the story of why it was a TV movie rather than a regular movie. Probably because it was easier to get on television than a movie. It's very hard to get a movie made. But believe it or not, even though the one that Jack Nicholson was in is obviously incredibly famous, it's probably his most famous role. The one that's more true to Stephen King's vision was the TV. But believe it or not, the one was Steven Weber of all people, rather than Jack Nicholson.
And that is the one that was actually filmed at the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, not the movie.
Yeah, which I've been to. I've been to the Stanley Hotel.
Yeah, okay, that's on my bucket list too.
And the lady that played Faye is still alive.
No.
Yep.
Oh wow.
She's 96.
Okay, so let me just go through the cast real quick. Tim Daly, Steven Weber, Crystal Bernard, fantastic. David Schramm, who played Roy Biggins, was amazing. You just mentioned Rebecca Scholl. She was fantastic. Tony Shalhoub, we mentioned. He was the father in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Fantastic show. Thomas Hayden Church was the other one we couldn't remember.
Yes, there it is.
I said Hayden Church. Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yep. Sorry, I couldn't. But I mean, Thomas Hayden Church has had an amazing acting career.
Yes.
Let me see.
It was a great cast.
That's my point. That's why I'm reading these people's names. Amy Yazbek was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were so good. So I don't understand. I'm so glad you brought up Wings because I didn't think of it, and it's one of them. It might be the most underrated, terrific sitcom of all time.
It had a really long run. It had a great
how
cast.
Ridiculous it is. How ridiculous this show shouldn't have lasted at all. So what are we gonna do? Oh, it's gonna be about a small airport on Bucket.
Yeah,
it's
a pretty weak pitch, isn't it?
It's such a weak pitch. Such a weak.
It's so good, but okay. Let me speak to that because I don't think that Jimmy Burrows was involved in Wings. At least I don't think he is. But he wrote a book, and I don't read books, so I haven't read it, but I heard it's fantastic. But in that book, in one of the interviews I heard of him talking about the book, is he made a point, and his point is that he goes, what I tried to do anytime I created a show was come up with a very simple premise, and then I come up with a great cast and great writing. Yeah. What makes a great show is not a complicated premise. The premise is incredibly simple. It's the cast and the writing, because if you get the right if you get the right material, the right writing, then and the right cast, and they act it well and they perform well, the show, has it creates itself. So if you think about Cheers, which ran for 9 years and is regarded as one of the greatest shows of all time, every show was them sitting around a bar.
Yeah,
that was the show, right? Or like he had a lot to do with the show Taxi. That
look at once you overcomplicate a pitch for a show, once you make it too convoluted, it gets harder and harder and harder and harder to write year after year after year. The beauty and the simplicity makes it easier to achieve longevity. Like, look at the show Suits. It started with a very complicated premise, and eventually they had to work around that and abandon it completely. So sticking to the basics actually, I think, helps in the long run, because then the cast becomes more and more established. They get more and more comfortable. They get more and more chemistry, and it essentially writes itself.
That's right. Well, if we just off the top of our head listed the what we thought were the best shows of all time, the concepts are incredibly simple. But then we start naming like The Airport. Then we start naming the cast, and we talk about how funny it is, which is the writing. You're like, oh, that's what makes a great show, is a great cast and great writing with a really simple premise. Cheers or Taxi or Friends or or The Office. The Office literally takes place in the office.
Paper company.
At a paper company. Right. But it's got incredibly good writing and an incredibly good cast. That's the formula.
And I think that's another reason I liked Scrubs as much as I did. We talked about this, how it started and ended. the last season be damned, but it showed the progression of the characters too, and it wasn't like it was overly complicated. It's like, okay, he started out as an intern and worked his way up. I mean, chiefs of medicine and stuff like it's incredible because it's such a simple concept. Or you look at like a Two and a Half Men. Why was that so popular? Because you've got a drunk uncle and a divorced dad and a kid, and you go and get older, and you can work with that, and it creates new content for you. Or and then you get into another one. I like that '70s show that I still think holds up because it was a period piece, made well after the '70s, and they had to work around the obvious elephant in the room of, well, we can't do this past 79, so let's just ignore it for a couple of seasons. But it worked because there was a good detail, but it did come down to the cast and their chemistry together. Because if you don't, you can have a great cast, but if they don't have the chemistry, you're still dead in the water.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, Mila Kunis lied about her age to get cast on that show.
Yes, she did, which makes the pilot episode even creepier when you see her and Ashton Kutcher making out in the van. But they're married now, so it's fine.
Yeah, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Woody Allen concept, but all right.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. But I think the way that I look at comedy now is the only this is gonna kill Brendan. The only show that I can go back and watch that I could still watch and still laugh at is that's before the year 2000 is Seinfeld. I can watch Seinfeld over and over and over and over again, and it's still funny to me. Yeah, I mean I reference Seinfeld episodes on an almost daily basis. And
it's the outrageous character work that, I mean, you can say what you want about all the actors involved. It was just it's not like there was depth. It was just the amount of effort put into portraying the character. Even if you don't like the show, you can't not notice how much effort was put. Just being completely fucking erratic, or even the persona of Jerry Seinfeld, the character, not the person. It was just him kind of dialed up to 11, but he knew how to kind of dial it back from his weird neurotic self to the actual character he was portraying. It was attention to detail there too, because I felt like they knew what their character would act like in every given situation and scenario, and they almost were on point how that person would actually react in that situation.
Did you like Seinfeld?
Yeah,
you did.
Still like it.
Yeah, somebody pointed out to me, and maybe I heard it in an interview of Jerry Seinfeld, where he said that one of the premises of the show was Jerry obviously as the center point, but it was Jerry as kind of the anchor point with all of the chaos around him.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I see that now. I get that. But to finish my point, I can't really go back and watch those other sitcoms that I enjoyed before. That's 4-camera studio audience setup. It feels really, really old to me. And it's not like I can't enjoy it at all. Like I guess I maybe enjoyed it in kind of a nostalgic way, but I'm not going to choose to go back and binge 9 seasons of Cheers. I don't think I would enjoy it.
Hold up as well, the bar, whereas like that 7, no, it's an era piece, or
Right.
Scrubs is set in a hospital, and a lot of those scenarios are still going to hold up. Queens I love, but 20 years later, it's a little bit dated just because the entire aura of the show is dated now.
Well, I guess once I saw Arrested Development, my whole world was changed. I couldn't go back. I'm sorry, I said it about Seinfeld. I didn't mean about Seinfeld. I actually heard it in a recent interview about Arrested Development and Jason Bateman's character. That was the premise of that show, is that he was he was kind of the calming central anchor point and all the chaos around him. But the just the documentary style and the single camera and just the like Jason Bateman is so dry, you know.
Yeah.
I just loved it, and then when Michael Schur came along, you know, and he participated in The Office, but then he launched Parks and Rec, and then he did Good Place, and then he did Superstore, and then he did Brooklyn Nine-Nine, kind of that whole Michael Schur line of shows, and I was so on board, you know, like, Brendan, when you say that The Office is one of your favorite shows, I get that, it absolutely is. Did you like Parks and Rec at all, Brendan, or no?
No.
You didn't like it at all?
I mean, I can't say I gave it a fair shake.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I probably watched like 1 or 2 episodes. Amy Poehler is her name.
Yeah. You don't like Amy Poehler?
Not a big fan. She's all right. She's all right.
Yeah, I get that.
So,
but what, Tony? I mean, I have my own answer to this question, but why do you think Seinfeld still holds up, and why can you still go back and watch Seinfeld?
It's something with the way it was shot that because it's not. It's a blend of the studio, but also like on the streets and in real. I don't know. It's something about the way that they shot the show that doesn't make it look overly dated, and a lot of the jokes are very. They're not dated, but they're not. I mean, granted, there are very, very dated jokes in the show, but the humor feels genuine. Characters are so outlandish and such big assholes.
Yeah, I
That's
think
what it is. It's because the characters reacting or getting their comeuppance, it just that resonates with the audience.
Okay, I'm curious to see if you agree with why I think it still holds up. I didn't think about the way that it's shot. That's an
I
interesting.
don't know, something. It just it does. It looks different than a lot of the other sitcoms of the era.
No, I never thought about that, but I think you're right. I think that's a good observation. My reason is, and I think you touched on it a little bit. My reason is because that show. First of all, I love the idea of a show about nothing. You're like, yeah, it really is about nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that's a clever turn.
like
that
this episode. This episode. This episode. The fucking sitcoms. I mean, I'm sorry. No, this is totally legit.
But I think no one either before, during, or since can pull that off. Has been able to pull that off. You know, to do a show about nothing that seems to have enough substance that it's entertaining. But in addition to that, that show is about human behavior, and it's about what I can't remember exactly how it was said, but you know, the show was co-created between Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David, and I think they had, it was something like 2 rules. And I think mostly it came from Larry David, but he said there's going to be 2 rules that we're going to follow, no matter what happens with the show and or how long it lasts. The characters are never going to grow, and they're never, like, they're going to be unapologetic, and they're never going to grow. Like they're never going to learn. They're never going to grow as people. They're never going to learn any lessons. They're just going to be degenerates the entire time, and they're going to be unashamed and unapologetic about it. And I think that's very funny. And so if you have a show that's about human behavior, and these people are constantly, like you said, getting their comeuppance, and they should be learning lessons from their terrible behavior decisions,
but they're not,
and just their narcissism, and they're all self-absorbed. They're completely selfish, and they should be learning lessons over and over and over again, but they never do.
Yeah,
they kind of get worse.
I think that's the appeal, because everybody knows somebody like that, and when the show is about nothing, it kind of has to be about the character. I think that's why it worked.
but I think each episode puts. Well, first of all, a lot of the situations were things that Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld experienced, and then they put them in the show.
Mm.
That happened pretty consistently. But I think the characters are constantly in situations that you can kind of relate to, and then you have to watch them contend with it. And then the other thing is that you have the A line, B line, and C line stories, or you'll have two or three of the characters, or maybe all four of the characters, almost doing their own thing, but then it all gets woven back together. And that's not always done that well, and it's done seamlessly on that show, and it's fun to watch that happen.
A lot of shows have a lot of filler, and that one didn't feel like filler.
Yes, and then maybe the last thing is that first of all, I think one thing that they did that was very cool of Jerry Seinfeld is that he cast a ton of his comedy buddies in that show. They were just struggling comics, just trying to establish their career, and he'd give them bit parts, and so they showed up all the time. But then the core characters are fantastic. But then if you think about all of the peripheral characters, all the girlfriends and boyfriends, all the bosses, all the neighbors, all the owners of businesses, there's all of the peripheral characters, and they were all really entertaining. So even the fringe characters were entertaining characters. And I think those are the elements that to me make that show hold up, where I can keep watching it over and over again.
Yeah, I think a lot of those qualities, have to go across the board on a lot of the shows that we brought up. So it's there's always it's coming down. It comes down to chemistry, story, cast, and observability. And some shows didn't get as much reason because of the channel or the time slot. And they were killer, but we're in the streaming era, and like I said, we've moved into a different format TV and viewing, so the sitcom might not last a whole lot longer.
That's why that's why The Office is better than Seinfeld. Okay, Chris, where can people find you?
Wait. Why is The Office better than Seinfeld?
Oh man.
You just went right to your conclusion without
Brandon was holstering that this
you
whole
all
time.
Understand why that's true. Chris, where can people find you?
I want to Tony, what did you say your favorite sitcom was of all time?
Oh, nope. We're done. We're done here. We're done here, Tony.
Oh man. Oh, so good. Okay, you can find me over at the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, where I just won my 17th championship. You can find me over at the KOE Nation doing liquor reviews. You can find me on the Big Buck Andre the Giant 6th annual beer drinking challenge coming up. Find that over on Facebook. Find me on once in a while if that ever takes place again, Phil. Of course, there's a new show that me and Chicken. It was called Decoding the Unknown, but turns out there's already a show called that, so we have to rebrand that. Name pending. Next week, I'll have a concrete one for you. But more importantly, most consistently, you can find me right here at Dad's Worldwide.
The other Decoding the Unknown show just had
Fuck.
What are you gonna?
What do you do?
Yeah. Chris, where can people find you?
So Tony, you didn't. Oh, he's walking away.
He's walking away. Gotta pee.
So you didn't pick my name suggestion?
It's on the table.
I think decision made.
DTF is good.
Even Chicken liked it.
That's true. He was also drunk. So
wait, when is Chicken not drunk?
That's true.
Right. So I feel like that doesn't matter at all.
You do have a point there.
Yeah, I mean during work, but I mean other than that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, mostly you can find me on Brendan and I's show, Weekly Rewind.
Yeah, buddy.
And you can also find me here when I'm invited. You can also find me. I promise I'll never bring up Bologna again. I feel like we've had our say, so I won't do that again.
I think at this point he'd rather you just never again.
Again? Okay.
I am trying to launch. Trying to launch a couple new shows, but I don't. Those aren't established enough to say anything about them, but they are coming. And of course, please do tune into. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to drop that J6 interview. I'll probably drop it on Weekly Rewind, but I'm also going to drop it in my on the thread for the interview show.
Nice.
Where that's also where I'm going to post my interview of the thruple if that ever happens.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm going to title that episode, "Hey Tony, it's a thruple."
I'm ready.
Then he's on board.
In the meantime, you can check out The Fourth Wheel. Apparently, that's the Thruples podcast.
Okay, good to know.
Oh.
Subscribing now.
Oh, you know what? My friend said, "Hey, I'll ask them. Maybe they want to have you on their show." I was like, I don't know what I would talk about on a Thruple podcast.
So you're married to only one woman? Weird.
But I will tell you, if a Thruple with a podcast invites me to be on their podcast, guess
Yeah,
what
you're going on.
I'm definitely there it is.
Earth-
Tony showing it on camera. No, if I'm invited onto a Thruple podcast, I will appear on the Thruple podcast.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen.
This
Stay tuned for
is
that.
the intro. This is the intro. Yeah, we're interviewing one of those
Yeah.
married people. Yeah, the one person. I know, right? Crazy.
Yeah, instead of having 3 adults and 1 kid, I have 2 adults and 3 kids. Super weird.
So weird.
We really needed a laugh track for this episode.
Yeah. Oh God, hold on. Oh no, that's not a laugh. That's a pause.
So close. So close.
Well, you know how to get a hold of me, Brendan at dadsww.com. Of course, you can find me on the Weekly Rewind with Chris, which is a fantastic show. I love it. It's great. And it's not because I'm on it. Well, I mean, probably it's because I'm on it. It's
Mostly
a lot.
because you're on it.
Yeah, it's mostly because I'm on it. It's a lot of fun. I really do enjoy that show. So please check it out. Let us know what you think. And of course, you can find us on all the socials, on Facebook, the Twit, and Insta. And yeah, we will make you laugh. We might make you cry. We'll certainly somehow, some way make you a better parent. Thank you for listening. Later.
So I just saw Facebook